Everybody, good morning and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host and Disembodied Hands, Quinty, Disembodied Beard, John, and all of you in the audience, including Agent Marvel, aka Laura's Pain and Binnies. Grats! Cool. Now we know who you are. Well, we always knew who you were. Whoa! A rare D. Clearman must have the day off from work. 58 months, though. You're not here often, but you've been here a long time. Yes, indeed. Oh, my. Yes. 58 is a lot of months. You are so right. You are so right. Indeedy. Excellent. Oh, hey, take your allergy pill, Quindy. I'm all stuffed up today. Oh, I can't wait to go to Arizona. So I will be not here on Thursday. You know what? My camera is way too high. No wonder I'm like, wait, everything is so weird. There we go. Now we're better. Yeah. There's a dragon. Let's get in focus on our dragon. What do I want to work on today on our dragon? I haven't actually thought about it. Oh, but hey, I had a marvelous idea. I'm full of ideas, as you all know. I actually have a number of things. I know D. Clearman is actually on my like $10 or higher tier. I don't know who else is, but I've got a question for y'all who are on my Patreon. Which would you rather have? A video on different ways to start a model, or a PDF on motivation in mini painting? Ways to motivate yourself. Which would you rather have? Motivation or ways to start? Because I'm trying to decide what to do this month, and I'm just like, I'm almost done with my $5 PDF, and I'm like, I really need to turn this around before I leave for the, or at least get it well in progress. Both. You're gonna have, like, both eventually. I'm just looking at what's first. Oh, it's split. Oh, it's 50-50. 50-50 so far. Yeah, the ways to start would be like different ways, like I've had questions about why I paint in sections versus why not base coat the whole mini at the same time, and then there's the way that Wapple does it. And then there's like Zenith with underpainting, right? Like there's a whole bunch of different ways to start a mini. So essentially that's what I would be looking at on that video or PDF. I haven't decided if it's a PDF or a video yet, actually. Motivation is totally different. Like ways to start, that's a mechanical thing, just to clarify. It's like, like painting in sections versus base coating the whole model versus doing a zenith and undersketch versus doing either a toned base coat or an undercoat. Yeah, so, yeah, they're two very different topics. Yeah, motivation is what you're looking for as far as, you have a hard time starting a mini. Yeah, we'll get to that too. The follow through, the dreaded last 10%. I should just do a video on the dreaded last 10%. I have at this point, guys, so many YouTube video ideas. It's just like crazy. It's insane. So many things I want to do. Yeah. And there's many reasons why the dreaded last 10% is a thing. And it's funny too, right? Because when you do actually push through and finish the thing, it feels so good to have it done. So why don't we just do that, right? All right. And the great idea I had, which is amazing that I hadn't thought of this. You can all laugh at me officially, like when I tell you what this idea is that I got this morning, and then I promptly like facepalmed and went, why the bleep didn't I actually think of this before? So obviously, the low-hanging fruit that I have completely not been doing on my YouTube channel is a series of videos on how to use Master Series Paint. Like, duh? Like, seriously. And then once I finish the series, I can just send like a link to John and Ron and go and Kit and say, you guys, if you want to use this, here, have links, videos, Like, because back in the day, um, like Kit and I were always talking about how it would be great if I had time to sit down and write things for the website about how to use our paint, right? But I never had time because either the paint department was blowing up or I was doing, two different things already. Most of the time, the paint department was just blowing up. Yeah, right. And this is what Reaper has always lacked, right? For the paint line, it's always lacked a hey, how do I use this stuff? What is a liner? What is a clear? Like I've done stuff for my Patreon, but that's all paywalled. And I can definitely go more into detail on my Patreon because with a PDF I can do a lot more material than I can on a video. But having something out there, just something small and easy in 5 minutes, definitely like a thing. Post those in all the places. Yeah, exactly. So I figure I'll do it just for the YouTubes, and then I will send links out to Quindy, you, John, Ron, Kit, and you guys can decide if where you want to use them. But I don't care how you use them. I don't care if Reaper wants to put them on their website. I don't care what they want to do with it. I don't care. I just want to get it out there because after all of these years of having to answer the same questions over and over, it's just amazing that I didn't think of this before now. Right, yeah. I might even do a new intro for those videos. Oh, you got a job. You got a new job. I missed it, Kuro. I missed it. I missed it. Yay! That's great, Kuro. Yay! Does the job still allow you to watch us? Well, obviously, like since you're in European time, probably it does, right? But not always. Like maybe not. So hopefully, it still allows you to watch us. I forgot my palette because that's the way I roll today. But yeah, at this point, I'm feeling like I have so many video ideas for the YouTube and not enough time to do them all. I mean, I always am a paint ambassador, but obviously. But yeah, it just never. I always was doing. I was thinking. Obviously, I was thinking the YouTube would be more general painting info, but really, there's no reason not to do an MSP. Like deep dive because I made the darn line. So unless Reaper has changed a lot of stuff, I can give good info on the paint line and stuff like that. So I guess I should probably check with Ron that they're not about to cancel half the paint line. Dearie. But that all that aside, let's see. What do we feel like today? I feel like red. I'm feeling red today, guys. I'm feeling red. Let's red. Let's red out. Where is my happy little blood red? And my happy little clear red. And my happy little sunrise orange, or maybe cavalier orange. Yeah, let's do cavalier. It's super bright. I'll just text him. I'll just send Ron a quick text. Okay, good, Kerniko. Thank you. You can watch Interact most days. Well, that's great. Right, exactly. Yeah. I'll put that on my... Let me put this on my to-do list. Boop. Putting on the to-do. I'm just making sure. There we go. Yeah, I should know about before I do. Yeah, there we go. Ron has been texted. Now, if he shares anything, I can't share it with you guys. Like, if he does say, unless he gives me permission to do it. So any secret knowledge that I gain from Ron Hawkins is not, sadly, not shareable. And any conclusions that you may draw when seeing my subject matter for said videos are up to you. Get some Osirian sand, of course. If you're going to be using pure white, and you're going to be ever mixing a skin tone or anything that requires a warm highlight, of course you want to get some Osirian sand. Like, if you're going to get white, why not get different kinds of white? You can't handle the loss of more beautiful paints. Yeah, I know, Cody, that the bright skin debacle. It was very sad. It was very sad. Alright, so we're gonna get some of this red stuff going on. I'm gonna get, I don't remember what I was doing for shading on that. I think I was adding in the green. So let's do that. Let's mix up some, I'm gonna grab some blood red, and then I'm gonna add in a little bit of green to make my shadow, mute out my shadow, and then I'm gonna grab some clear red. I'm gonna show you guys my colors here. So, let's grab some, I have Elven Green on my table. It's a dark green, so let's gonna toss it into this blood red to mute it out. Oh, well, Osirian is just my go-to, so you don't have to go there. If you don't own Elven Green, you could consider Elven Green. Everybody should consider Elven Green. It's a very pretty dark green. That's another one I need to like just go through and make a list of MSP videos I want to make now. So now we'll get our clear red out. So you can see the difference in the reds here. The clear red is really, really saturated, and we're going to do that. Yeah, Dragon Green is great, but Elven Green is a great shadow for Dragon. We'll get some orange. And then we'll go from there. It's Butter Up Agent Marvel Day. I see, I see. I'm going to put a couple drops into the orange mix. Because even though you might think orange has crappy coverage, the minute you try to layer with it, you find out that this isn't true. Alrighty. Let's mix up these. So that makes a darker orange. I'm using Cavalier from Pathfinder. Cavalier Orange, which is a great medium orange. It's actually a little darker than Sunrise, and it's a little more saturated. And I'm just going to go right into this. And then right into that. Essentially creating almost a pentad. My top of my pentad will actually be a Lantern Yellow and Cavalier mix, probably. When I mix this green into this red, it makes a beautiful dark red. When you want to keep saturation in your reds and you don't want to, but you still want to darken them, you could do worse than reach for a dark green. So there's our quad red at the moment. We did NMM on my Saturday stream. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna throw some Lantern Yellow in there, I think. Or some Candlelight. Let's do Candlelight. NMM chainmail is actually one of the easiest NMMs to do because you shouldn't overthink it. I know we've done it in the past here on the stream. Probably, actually, I even have... Yeah. Ah! When you were at Larry Elmore attacks, news at 10. There. So, don't overthink it. Do your normal chainmail thing, and then just go through and do some extra highlights where the light is coming down, and do some extra, if you're going to do, you know, like I did with the rust, you can do extra rust and stuff, but that's actually a really straight chainmail without any waves in it. 1 second. Gotta reconstruct my debris here. But chainmail is very, very easy. I mean, you pretty much start it the way that you'd start it with just a base and a wash, or start with a black undercoat, depending on what you're going to be doing. And after that, it's just extra highlighting with making sure you go up to pure white. So NMM chainmail, actually one of the easiest things ever. It's still a job. Good curl. Yay. Oh, and I want to put an extra bit of water in that. So that makes us something that's more like marigold. So we'll see how that goes. Might need my orange to be a little bit yellowier, but we'll see. We'll work with that. So I did order, I did put in a Dick Blick order over the weekend. They still do have Da Vinci Maestros. Like, they're definitely gotten more expensive. Like, I remember when you could get, like, you know, like Winsor Newton Series 7s on there for like $8, $9, and you're paying $20 for a Da Vinci these days for Klinsky. And I assume that's just the extra hoops that they've had to jump through to get the brushes approved for import. Passing the costs on to the customers. But as long as I can still get my freaking sables, I don't care. I will just have to, you know, only put in a brush order every once in a while. But I was starting to feel anxious. Like when I get below like 3 brand new Da Vinci Maestros in my drawers, I get anxious. Am I silly? Yes, I am. I know. But okay. Yep. But yes, now I put in some brush order for David and I. So, yeah, they're so worth it. If it looks off, ArrowWiz, then is it too light, too dark, what? Is it not dark enough? Yeah, you could try taking a black and white photo. You could also just post it up to my Discord, and I'll get to it when I get to my Discord eventually. Oh, yeah, and I'm going to want my liner, because I'm going to want to, we're going to do the armor stuff and things. I want to want some. Then if it's not shiny looking, are you using any pure white highlights? Pops of pure white on the little links. Yeah? Then are your darks at all close to your lights? I know, I'd have to look at it. I'd have to, at that point, I have to look at it. Do you have enough midtone? Is my next question. Do you have still a fair amount of gray? With chainmail, I honestly find it's not necessary to do under reflection. Because most, at least with hanging chainmail, you don't really get a lot of under reflection. I find it's easier to just almost highlight it like cloth, but keeping in mind your colors and where the light should be. If you have a sleeve, then that's different. You do need the under reflection then. But yeah, if it's a tunic or like the front of a tunic or chainmail loincloth or whatever, then if it's just a hanging sheet of chainmail, I often don't find it necessary to have that under reflection. Yeah, I mean, you can always put a picture of it up on the Discord and then ping me and I'll go look. Say, and go look at the Discord and look at my thing at work in progress or feedback needed. I'm going to actually, since I'm going to be in Arizona for 4 days, I'll probably be on the Discord a couple times. During that time, I typically, because I have a lot more time to actually do Discord things. I mean, that's what my Discord is for, really. You know, if you guys need a feedback and you really need me, you can ping me on there. That's fine. Like, I mean, just tag me and if I don't look at the Discord for a few days and you really want the feedback, like if you think I might be out, then just say, hey, Ann, I dropped a thing on the Discord, and I'll make a point of going over there and spending 5 minutes. I mean, that's probably the best reason, like, to be on the Discord, is that you can, like, get my direct opinion. Or even if I, like, get caught up in other stuff and I don't get back to you right away, there are usually really good painters on there who will give you a direct opinion, so... And usually what they say is what I'd say anyway. Yeah, that is the problem. That is the problem. Stress can be the creativity killer. I found that that's true with me too, Kerniko. Like, I didn't realize how much all of the health testing that I had coming up was weighing on me until I was done with the last piece of it, and suddenly I felt creative again. And you'd think, you know, if I looked at myself during that time, I'm like, oh no, I'm fine. It's just it's just health testing. It's just a pain in the butt. But actually, no, it's the whole subconscious undercurrent, and you know, so that anything like that threatens your livelihood, like being unemployed or having health things possible or whatever, that can all be hugely disruptive to creativity. So whatever happens, just don't blame yourself. It's just a thing. And now you're past it, so you can get back to doing stuff. It's one of the things I was going to talk about in the motivation PDF, actually, is this is definitely a thing. There are certain, there are people, there are certain types of brains that really rely on tranquility or harmony or stability or any of those ITs, the ITYs, in order to execute on creative things. So, yeah, I mean, this is a very nice hospital, but, I mean, and the MRI was actually really stressful, just because claustrophobia. Like, and I was lucky because mostly my head was only a little ways inside the tube. Like, if I have to ever get an MRI where my entire, like, I'm buried in the tube, I'm going to be freaking out. They're going to have to give me a trank. I don't know. Like, I could manage it with my meditation skills. I could manage it this time, but when I think about it, like, doing the other one, I'm just like, oh my god. Alright. Okie dokie. So let's do some red highlighting here. I'm going to start... actually, by punching up the loincloth a little bit more, I'm going to work around here. Going to work on that little red thing there, on the little red scales here. We're just going to start working our way around with the red. And the first thing, you even managed to lose weight without trying. Oh no. Oh, Kuro. Hugs to you. Virtual hugs to you. So I'm putting in some of the yellow there. You can see that. That pops right up when I put it in. It's just a tiny little bit, but it makes such a huge difference. And that's my orangey yellow here, my yellowy orange. Just those little touches of that can really make a red pop really well. That's why I love painting red, is because I can do that. I pull that off and get those little touches of yellow in, and it just looks fantastic. Oh, nice foreshadow. Yeah, I'm about to make a big run at it. I've been tweaking my diet since I started adding in more protein, and I've realized that because the protein is so filling, I really don't need to eat like a lunch. Not like I used to think of lunches, which were a standard, standard size meal. Like, so I'm kind of tuning my lunch down so that it's like just like a very small lunch. Like hardly a real lunch, really just a very small salad and some smoked salmon and like 200 calories tops. And I think that's going to actually help a lot, because I used to eat just because it was time to eat, and that can be a big trap. All right, so just going straight up to the yellow is too much, so I'm going to grab my clear red, bring some of that in. In a mem class, yeah. Now, the nice thing about the clear red is that we can also just glaze over it, over that yellow. Look how intense that gets. Like, that clear red is super saturated. And I can put a little bit of that in there to pop up the saturation on my red. Yeah, exactly. I lost 30 pounds in hospital, but don't recommend it. I feel that. But yeah, so if I had to, like, because it's like I'm never gonna. Before I was trying to cut calories with supper, and although I can get it to a certain point, it's the fact that I'm eating with David is I'm just like, and also the supper has to last me for the rest of the night, right? So I realized recently that was just not the best tactic. So instead, I think lunch, which is, I enjoy sitting down for my lunch, but it's not like I'm super hungry when I do, so eating a whole lunch doesn't make sense. So if I have to like cut down some calories somewhere, I think lunch is going to take the hit. So I'm bringing in my darks again just to try to make those kind of stand out. I'm going to also bring it in down here, because there's a crease there that goes right down there. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? If you don't eat crisps are evil. Like crackers essentially are my doom. Like, when I dropped that, that was one of the big jump starts to losing weight, when I lost all that weight a while ago. I haven't drunk soda for ages, so that wasn't a thing. But crunchy things. And fried is okay for me, but fried breaded is bad. That's the problem with the Midwest for me, is that everything that is fried is also breaded. It's another reason I hate going to Adapticon. The food choices, they're just not there. Alrighty. So I'm shading around here underneath that dagger. I want to bring down that red so that the front red pops more. Oh, yeah. No thanks, Kuro. Yeah. I mean, they taste so good. It's just, what do you want more? For me, I decided I would rather, like, feel good. But it's hard because it's addictive, right? And even now I struggle, because I have some crackers in the cupboard that I keep they're lower carb, but I still love them, and I'm not getting rid of them anytime soon. Yeah, good Kodiak. Yeah, yeah. When you cut down on carbs, it helps. It can help just because it can stabilize blood sugar and insulin levels, make it a little easier for your body to let go of some of the weight. And some people's bodies just really like low carb, like mine does. After having tried this higher protein thing, I have once again come around to the fact that really, low carb is the way to go for me. Like, doesn't matter. I mean, I actually feel like a higher protein version of keto is kind of where I'm going to end up. Or very low carb, under 50 grams a day, but that may not put me in ketosis. But I just feel better. I just feel better on it. There's just no denying it after trying so many different things. I just feel better on low carb. And all my health stuff looks good. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to resist that good stuff. The stuff, especially when it's comfort food, when it makes us, when it hits our emotions like that. I have everything crackers. I love the everything flavor on everything bagels, and of course I don't, eat bagels these days, but there's an almond flour or seed flour cracker out there that's an everything cracker. David stole a couple the other day, and he's like, "These are good." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't keep inferior carby food in the house. It's got to be superior these days." Speaking of superior, we went to Burma Love, or I went out for takeout for Burma Love last night for Burmese. It's a Burmese restaurant, and Burma Superstar is its original, I think, name. But oh my gosh, like the coconut rice. It's the only time I eat regular rice anymore. Is when we go to that chain, because they've got a savory coconut rice that's just mildly, like just a tiny bit sweet, but otherwise savory, and it's like it's like that awesome sticky rice, like the sticky rice and mango thing that Thai restaurants have, but without all the sugar in it. But it's still got that strong coconutty flavor. It's so good. Oh my god. I could just sit and eat it. It's the only rice I could just sit and shovel into my face. Oh yeah, the overexercise, yeah. Well, I figure limit the processed carbs. Yep. That helps a lot, Agent. Yeah, coconut rice is amazing. I've raised my metabolism by raising my muscle mass, so that's nice. Like, I can tell, too, because, like, I don't get cold. Like, this winter, like, there are days definitely I want a sweater, but I used to just be freezing all the time, and I'm not anymore. So I can tell that my metabolism is gone. But it's really cool to see actual, like, tangible evidence that that's happening with my CrossFit stuff. Like, but there's definitely a big difference. Like, I was always the one who was freezing before, and I'm not there, like, this year. Not at all. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Trojan, for sure. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that, same with me. Same with me, Marvel. Or do you want me to call you Laura now? I can call you Laura if you want. I guess other people will be confused as to who I'm talking to if they don't know your backstory, your origin story. It's like calling Spider-Man Peter. You can nom whatever you want, Kuro. You can all nom whatever you want. Like, when it comes down to it, we are the ones who are accountable for ourselves. And if we want to have a tasty treat day, we can. We're adults. So that area on her hip is really saturated right now, and I feel like it shouldn't be. It should be in shadow because it's under the arm there. So you can see where it's a little bit brighter up here. I'm going to actually put some of this dark red mix over it to tone it down a little. Yeah, a lot of those sea salt and vinegar chips go way overboard with the flavoring. I mean, I like that flavor as much as the next girl, but... And sometimes on vacations, like at airports, I've been known to lapse and grab a bag of kettle chips, but they're too darn strong. It's too salty and vinegary. It's like blow out your taste buds. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure, Laura. It's all in moderation. You can have the food you want. You just can't like eat tons of it all the time. Or you can, but you will regret it eventually. All right. So let's do that little piece right there and get more of the shadows in back here. But I'll come at this area from here, rather than trying to paint it past the dagger. The dagger does have, like, I accidentally got some brown on it, so I feel like I want to underpaint a little bit. I'm going to grab some white. I bet they used to be fried in a kettle full of fat, Pendrake. Thick chips. Thick chips fried in a kettle full of fat. That's my guess. I'm going to thin my white down about 2:1. Oh yeah, if you actually get fresh fish and chips, that's totally different. Quistodoma. Fresh is always better. Oh, yawning, but I shouldn't be. It's David, like, got me up just barely within the okay window. I hate it when he wakes me up before my alarm. So he, like, opened up the bathroom door and just had stepped out when my alarm went off. I'm like, that was almost too close. I'm sure the current process is just the same as every processed food. Who knows, though? Ooh, all right. So I did a little bit of white underpaint there on the dagger. You can see that right there. I'm going to go over it with my blood red, and that should get rid of that blorf that I had there. When you do something like that, when you paint, like I accidentally got some of the NMM gold color, the rich leather, over the red, don't try to just paint red over it. When you've got a pale undercoat and you know that you want the red to really stand out, then you underpaint with white first, at least for the tops of the creases. I see blue sky. It's supposed to be on and off rainy here today. Apparently the winter has decided to continue raining on us right up to the end. Which is better than going into drought early. Actually, my favorite sweet potato fries are the ones I make myself, and they're Tex-Mex. Try a sweet potato fry with do olive oil, salt, and pepper, but then also do ancho and chipotle powder. And the chipotle powder makes it a little spicy, and it just is a great flavor combo on sweet potato. So getting these little tiny folds can be very difficult when you're trying to bring it up in the red. And again, you can use underpainting for that. You can grab a little bit of white and mix it into your orange. Yuck, Cornico. That would be bad. Yeah, if you're not into sweet potato fries, that's fair, Kodiak. More for us. I'd never liked them until I made them once. After I moved in with David, actually, because I'm never a big potato fan. Like I'm not a big potato fan in general. Except for twice baked potatoes, which I do on occasion create here. But sweet potato fries, I don't remember what we started making them with to go with, but I might have started using them because they're not that high carb, and I liked them better. So then that underpainting lets us get those little fabric folds. Now we can go over the top of that with a little bit of our orange thinned down. Then we can keep those folds nice and crisp. Oh, I would never dip in salted caramel sauce. I think we're all just very individual about our sweet potato like preferences. I can't have sweet potato with anything sweet, Twisted Oma, or I'll vomit. Like, seriously, it has to be a savory sweet potato for me. Because the sweet potato is already so sweet, and it's just, I don't know, there's something about the flavor profile that sweet potato must be a savory for Anne. More caramel sauce for you. It's not pure sugar, just mostly sugar. And butter. And, salt. It is, in fact, the trifecta of what addicts humans. Salted caramel is pretty much like all the things that humans get addicted to that are bad for them in too great quantities, right? Like, really, salted caramel sauce is kind of the epitome of that. Which isn't to say that it's not tasty. If it wasn't tasty, it wouldn't be addictive. There, all right. That's exactly the thing I can't eat, Kodiak. Like, the minute you put sugar or marshmallow or like brown sugar or white sugar or anything sweet on a sweet potato, anything. Like, even if it's a dessert, like, it's the smell of it. I don't know what it is. Ever since I was a kid, it just turns my stomach. I can't even. Like, my parents had to put it on the other side of the table at Thanksgiving so that I couldn't smell it because I would just run for the bathroom. I don't know what the heck, but no way. More for you. More for you. You guys can keep that. This is bad. I prefer my sweet potatoes unsweet. Yuck, yeah. You see, I can't. The minute the brown sugar hits it, the smell just kills me. Oh, yuck, yuck, yuck. Yep, no, never. I run the other direction, screaming, Turgeon. Yeah, even thinking about it. Even thinking about it just makes me feel ill. Alrighty. So I'm pretty happy with the way the loincloth is looking. I like it. I love spending my time on red because I just feel like when you spend... Red is such a punchy color that when you spend the extra time to really make it look good and to bring out those shadows and highlights, it just rewards you. This is why my Sisters of Battle have to be red. Red armor. It's going to be the most fun. No marshmallows, please. Yeah. Yeah, I like them. I actually like them savory. I like sweet potatoes. Like, even if I'm going to have just a regular sweet potato, like just a baked one, I want salted butter on it. Like, I want that savory aspect to the sweet to help cut that sweet. So, likewise with the sweet potato fries. Salted and with, only savory stuff. It's odd. It's almost like the sweet potato gets oversweet for me very, very fast, and then it just nauseates me. I'm just done. I don't know what it is. Just some weird Anne thing. We all have weirdnesses. That's one of mine. I'm going to line around. I want to get this little... There's not much light falling back here on this wrap, so really it's just a tiny bit of a color accent. So I want to get the leather strap lined first. Get those dark lines in there. Ooh. Yeah, that's interesting. I could probably eat that. Sweet potatoes just were off my radar for a lot of my childhood because I just assumed that I hated all of them. And only when I had a savory one was I like, oh, I like these, but only... And we're going to come in from on the back side here to line around the other side. Yeah, very flat, 2D. Yeah, those 2D surfaces are the hardest to paint, War Shadow. Like, faceted swords are really where it's at, but yeah. It's hard to paint a very flat one. Like, if it has little facets at the edges, like and it just is flat over the face of the blade, then it's workable, but sometimes for those I think the best thing is just to make them glowing swords, just to paint some runes on them and paint them a color that's not NMM so that you can just make it a glowing bar, and just do that, make it magical with the air quotations. So just going to put a little bit of orange just to bring up this area. I'm going to underpaint with white. The reason that I would underpaint with white over here, even though it's not like in the light like it was over here, is that otherwise I feel like because it's partially in shadow, nothing will show up. So if I underpaint with a little bit of white here, and then I pop some clear red over it with a little bit of orange, the wraps will actually show up, which is what I want. And I'll get just that little bit of highlighting that I want in there without having to do too much. and try too hard on the underside of that shield. Just probably the way that you are, Twisted Oma. See, that's funny because with me, I'm the opposite. I want the fattiest cut of steak out there. I want my ribeye with my giant fat pat. But that only happens since I did keto. When you go low carb and you eat a higher percentage of fat, or when you go keto and your like cat fat is your energy source, your palate changes. To the point where now, like, there are like prepackaged sweets, like you know, like packaged cookies and stuff like that. I can't eat them because they just taste like powder to me. Like, because a lot of the flavor is coming just from sugar. Hey, Moonlight, what's up? Yeah, I'm bringing out the reds today. We're redding. I was redding down here. Now I'm going to bring up her little belly scale parts. You guys can keep any beef. All right, more for me. More for me. Yeah, who would, right? I just baked cookies yesterday. I've broken it down now to where I just make the dough on one day and then I actually bake the cookies the next day. I break up the amount of time required to get fresh cookies. So I made my low-carb Russian tea cakes, which are they just hit the spot. They're good. All right, so there we go. We've got that little bit of thing there. So hard to not eat them, I know, right? Yeah, that's why I figured out a low carb version for myself. Like, low carb and they're a bit lower calorie. Because I've learned, I actually did a lot of reading on this, but I was looking at how much sugar you could actually drop out of a cookie to still have it bake okay and still taste right. And it turns out that any cookie recipe, I dare you to try it, but any cookie recipe you make, you can drop half of the sugar. And the flavor remains. Like, it doesn't really change anything. Like, because we put so much sugar in those things. And a lot of the sugar is there for browning, right? So instead, when you do that, when you drop half of your sugar out, you do end up having to bake them a little longer to get the brown. But you can drop half the sugar and cut down substantially on calories and carbs and still get a really good tasting cookie. I drop almost exactly, like I leave a tiny bit more than half of what the recipe calls for these days. Ooh, I'm waiting for a package from Moonlight too. I'm excited. Bounce, boing, 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 boing. That's how excited I am. But yeah, so you can also, I mean, I combine that with using a slightly richer flour Kodiak. So I haven't tried it with just regular flour, be warned. But when I drop half the sugar out and I'm using a lot of almond flour. I'm using about 3/4 almond flour, 2 different kinds. I've gotten my recipes so dialed in at this point. I think my Russian tea cakes they're 4 grams, only 4 grams of carbs each and 50 calories each. Nailed it. So I still use full butter. I experimented with using like applesauce for slightly more carbs but lower fat and lower cal. But I just don't like, when you're trying to do a shortbread, it just doesn't work. There are like some softer cookies and certainly like brownies and things you can do that with impunity. But I think cookies might not. Yeah, I can't keep that much dough on hand, Twisted Oma, because I would be making it constantly. That's what happened over Christmas, because I was so stressed out. Let's see here. So I'm trying to get a little highlight at the top of this little bracer. Let's get closer. I want to get little highlights. And get a little highlight down here on the bottom. These are such small areas that often you're not using your full color range of color transitions on them. You know what color I love? I like that you use different resins and different colors to print in Moonlight. I really like the brown one that the Wood Elves were in. I can't really see it anymore because I covered up in primer, but it's got kind of that earthy reddish brown. Really like that. I could see all the details really clean. Oh, is it the most fragile? Yeah, I did have one of the bow ladies her bow broke off, but that's fine. I own them all on STL now too. But your printing, the reason I still order like is because like your printer does just a little bit better than our printer does, and I like your colored resins. Hey, Dogfather. So I'm just trying to, you can see that little bit of yellow, orange that I put down there. I want to kind of blend this in. It can be hard, so hard to blend though on these little tiny, like pauldrons. That's gotten way oversaturated there. Yeah, a little bit too much orange. Darker brown. Okay. Cool. I look forward to seeing it then. Will my order be printed in that? Or is my order already printed in that? I'd love to take a look at it. Oh. Even newer one, huh? Oh, yeah. These are great for the larger models. Okay, it's fair. Cool. Yeah, I'll look forward to seeing it on the smaller one then. Hey, Richard. Yeah, you'll have to tell me about it off stream. Secrets. I won't spill. So that did work. I did get a little bit better of a transition for my highlight color there. So I'm going to come in and do that shadow. There's that deep crease right here. And I'm using my dark red that I mixed the Elven Green into. And I'm also going to use a little bit of the brown liner. So you can see that dark shadow there. Coming up right behind that dagger. And then coming down here, and a little bit pulling into that. So just getting some shadows blocked in here to bring out the details of the folds. get this a little bit in there. I need a little bit of lining at the back of this dagger here. So I'm actually just going to use my brown liner as a shader back there, since it's all in shadow anyway. I'm going to blob some of that back there, then grab and I'm going to blend it in. Wet blend it with a little bit of blood red. Just because complementary colors mixed into... Because if you want a saturated dark, Richard, you mix the complement in. So if I wanted a saturated dark red, I was going to mix a green in. And I had elven green on my table, so I just grabbed it because of dark green. So it would be the same. Doesn't matter what color the dragon scales actually are. Green is your go-to for making a saturated dark red. Period. All right, I want to get these shoulder pads. We'll see if I can stay on camera. So challenging to stay on camera when you get so close. Hey, Roger. Get that highlight up near the top. You can see that starting to come in there. Kinda. I mean, the same thing holds true for very bright greens if you add a dark red in. You kind of get that if you use a purplish red, but it's not the same thing. It's a pure complementary thing, actually, Richard. Because like when I shade green with a purple, I'm actually not mixing them at all. I'm just putting the purple in the shadows, and I want the purple to show up. But when I'm adding green to red to make a new dark red, I'm not looking to keep that green. I'm just looking to create a red that still has a fair amount of vibrancy to it, which would not happen if I mixed something like black into it. Black would kill my vibrancy, like the saturation of the red. So if I want a brighter dark red, a more saturated dark red, I use a complement. The green with purple is a little bit different. Because with the red and green, you're mixing them. You're not just putting green in the shadows. Right. So we got that little flare of lighter color there. I'm going to bring up that orange toward the middle here. Like there. So getting a little bit of that yellow up here, looking and around. It works with yellow and purple too, and blue and orange. The blue and orange you have to kind of watch like what how yellow or red your orange is, but like I've used purple to create shades for yellow before. And if you want to get... You can do it the other way around too, but your yellow has to have no white in it whatsoever. Like you can create a muted, bruisey, really like saturated purple by mixing yellow into your purple. It does somewhat depend like how warm both colors are. There we go. So red and green are two of the easy ones, I think, the easiest ones to do. And of course then you've got, if you're using a magenta red with a phthalo green, you get blue instead. You'll get purple and then blue. You can see that highlight there on the shoulder pad. I'm going to grab my dark and do a little bit. I want to get a little more water into my dark because it's actually having issues. Yeah, kind of butts. You know, if you buy a book to learn something, unless you manage to make the old college trick of sleeping with your head on it, you know, work, you do have to actually read it. Yeah, Color is a great book because it's actually got exercises in it that you can do too. So it's not just reading, you can actually like treat it as a class. Or we're always looking for the for the silver bullet that's going to solve, you know, all of our problems, but there is no silver bullet. Sometimes you just have to do the work. And when we do think we get a silver bullet, when somebody says something on a stream that makes us go, aha, you know, it reinforces us looking for that next aha moment. But in reality, if we'd sat down and, you know, read a thing and tried it ourselves, we would have all sorts of aha moments a lot faster than running around on social media waiting for somebody to say something the right way for us to go, aha. This is just a human condition. We want things to be easy. And sometimes they're not. But that doesn't mean they can't be fun. Yeah, I think Kirill's book is best used, ArrowWiz, not to read the whole thing through. If I were you using Kirill's book, I would very much do a seek and destroy, you know, kind of thing. Look up a specific thing and work with that. Otherwise, it'll get overwhelming, I think. Well, there you go. Yeah, Kirill's colors section is probably a little advanced, but everybody, like, there are so many, when it comes to the top painters, I think we all explain and work with color slightly differently. There's a lot of things in common, but we may describe them differently because we're describing it through the lens of how we learned. And, you know, the epiphanies that we've had over the years of working with color. So I feel like, you know, there's all sorts of different ways to describe the way that colors interact. Even when you come down to it, if you really broke what everybody was saying down, you'd probably come around to the same things, right? The same principles. Ooh, it got sunny out. Kiki's going to get her walk. Well, if you picked up right side of the brain and you're working on your drawing instead, Butts, it'll just help your freehand. I need to underpaint this section because it's gotten really dark, and I'm not going to be able to get my red to go over that. So I'm going to just kind of put some, kind of like I did on the other side there. So that went a little bit heavy, but I'll put the red over the top and see what I can do. Yellow is one of the most difficult colors to paint, hands down. That's why people have created tricks like that underpainting with pink one that I use. You know, because it works. We did some NMM on my stream on Saturday. Yeah, for sure, Butts. I mean, drawing is all about shadows and light, right? Yeah, yellow can be a beast. For sure. So we've got that looking a little better now. Drawing also technically like should help your brush control if you hold your brush like you hold your pencil. Had to buy myself a new electric eraser because I lost my old one somewhere. I have not been able to find it, and I want to bring some art stuff with me to Arizona. But my new electric eraser actually is pretty cool because it's got 2 different sizes of erasers that fit into it, so I can have really, really fine tip eraser or a more broad one. And that's pretty awesome. If you're drawing and you don't have an electric eraser, trust me, get an electric eraser. Game changer. So I'm getting a little bit of that highlight in there. Yes, electric eraser. They're so fun. It's just a little rotary tool with an eraser tip, Richard. But I got one that was, my old one was battery powered too, and so I got a new one that's USB rechargeable. But yeah, it's totally awesome. Somewhat, but the part of color and light that's on color gamuts is really interesting. I think the thing is color and light looks like that until you if you read through the whole thing, you realize that all those little pieces just feed into a comprehensive knowledge base. But then I like how James Gurney teaches. Got a brighter, more saturated red and orange at the top there. The new ones, this one is definitely not high powered enough to erase ink. It's a very very low intensity Dremel rotary. So you're supposed to use it with a very light touch. Yeah, the rotary erasers, the electric erasers, all come with a metal clips to hold the erasers in place. My old one had one and my new one has multiples. looking a little better. So I feel like this side is pretty good. Yep, I'm sure he'd be all about it, Richard, all about it. Sadly, I didn't charge my new eraser yet, or I would give you guys a demo. And then you'd all want to run out and buy them, because they're just too cool. It's actually my mom who told me about them. I'm embarrassed to say. She does more traditional art than me. So she learned about it from a class she took, because she takes classes with traveling artists that travel through the Phoenix area. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, but when would I ever do that? I mean, I'm not working with drafting film. I'm working with watercolor paper. All right, let's get some of this red on the other side done too. Although I have managed not to, I've been talking about working on her little belly scales and I haven't done it, so let's just do these. Now these I might want to do a white underpaint on. These little segments that are on the side of her torso. Because they're very small. And when you've got something that's tiny like that, then doing the white underpaint can help you a lot. Mostly I'm hitting the top of these segments. That's going to help me to do that orange yellow highlight. We want to keep our highlight very small, because if you put orange over most of it, it's going to look orange. And then putting the yellow orange over the top. And that can give us a little bit of a highlight that brings out those little segments. Of course, once we highlight the belly as well, that will help. And we'll get the other side here. Ooh, almost too much paint on my brush. Whenever you get a puddle like that, guys, that means you've got too much paint on your brush. Even though it might seem like you've got a tiny amount, the minute you see a puddle like that, that says that you're a liar. You have way too much on your brush. Kiki would like to say woof. Chestnut gold. Oh. If it was chestnut gold, it might be really old. Or they might have decided to bring it back because people asked for it. That was one of our go-to colors that when it got canceled, all of us cried. Slayer. That's a color I've given people the formula for before because they stopped making it. Yeah, that's why we're all like sad that, it got canceled. Yeah, I still have a bottle of it. I try to get rid of like all my stuff that's out of print, but there it is. There's the original. But chestnut gold is too useful for that, so. Oh, that's a good point. Maybe somebody did the whole order 10 bottles thing. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Quindy probably has it actually. That has the whole solution there. Somebody actually went and put in an order, and they made a gallon and just used the rest for samples. Makes sense. That is the most likely answer. There, now we can see her little belly bits a bit. Well, yeah, anything that's done for can be brought back, though, Crows. You just have to pay for it. So. Alright, so now we've got the shield. Let's see here. Maybe I'll do this. I want to do edging. I'm going to use white. I'm going to try this out, and if I don't like it, then I'll change it. Oh, too much water on my brush. Oh, David is playing WoW. He got the legendary. He was the first person in his whole guild to get the legendary drop off of the raid they ran this weekend. So he's been playing incessantly, farming the materials he needs for the legendary to be an actual legendary. I think I need a little bit more. I think I thinned my white a little bit too much. Yeah, samples are always a good idea. That's something Reaper was doing even way back in the Pro Paint days. I can't take credit for that one. And I can't tell you how many people wrote to us telling us that they started using our paint line after getting a free sample. Alright, so let's get this down here. Kind of want to outline this, and it's not going to stay white. But because this is such a flat section, as we were talking about a flat sword earlier, flat sections are very difficult to paint. So if you can do something freehandy with them, it can help. So I'm just going to get that edge around there, and then I'm going to do some other stuff here. Rusty red's really easy to make. Chestnut gold is too. Peacock green is not easy to make. Even when you're mixing a gallon of it. Alright, we got a little bit of a nick here. So I'm just going to work off of that. I'm going to do an interesting little just cracked marbled effect here. We're almost done with the stream, so I just want to get this kind of like put in and then glazed. Let's put some orange over this. Painting orange over the top. Best is up to debate, Richard. Technically, they'd argue that they weren't the best if they didn't sell. It's just that all the people who like those colors are on this stream. So I don't know if I like the cracked effect. I'll have to think about it. I'll let it sit and I'll decide later. I'll put a little shadow in first though. Yeah, best does not mean popular. It's true. Putting a little bit of extra. Just bringing some extra red in. Let's see here. One more glaze. And I'm going to grab my... Yeah, enjoy your lunch. So I wanted to get kind of an interesting cracked look on the red part of the shield. I can work with this. I'll refine it after this, but at least I got the basics of it in. Just wanted something a little different there for the shield with those super flat parts. This part's a little bit easier. I could probably facet it like a gemstone because it's actually out a little bit. This is recessed though, so that won't work as well. So if I grab some white, we'll just do a little bit right here at the end. I can create an illusion. An illusion of a faceted top. And we can continue working on this in the future. But I wanted to get a little bit of something to just map in to figure out. I like that. That looks interesting. There. So there's some interesting patterns on the red parts. I haven't decided about the green yet if I'm going to do a pattern on it. I might. And I also am still debating doing a different color here in the center, a black or a white. We'll consider it. We'll figure it out. All right. Oh, Arc of Fire. Yep. So we got a lot of work on the reds done today. We got a lot of the reds set today. I didn't get some of the little gemstones. I didn't finish the shield. I didn't get the shoulder pad. And I didn't get this rear part here or any of these little segmented parts of the scales on the legs. So there's still quite a bit of red to do, but at least the red is looking pretty good at this point. But now that we've got that red highlighted up, we need to really get the rest of the teal brought up as well. There's going to be a lot more teal on the back. But yeah, so we're getting there. We're getting there. And I may even bring this up with a pale yellow-green on the very tips of the teal as well, just to really pop the highlights up without washing them out. We'll see. And we still, of course, need to do the lava veins on the hammer, which will kind of match the little cracky things in the shield here. So that is where we are at. Tomorrow we will be working on Karindra. I had done a bit of metallic on her brazier, and I think we'll do the flames, and we'll work more on the stone. Maybe we'll put some of the snow down. Yeah, that's where we're at. I like the base a lot. So there we are, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. Remember, I am not here Thursday and Friday. I'll be visiting my folks, or Saturday. Won't be doing my own stream Saturday. Visiting my folks down in AZ. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow. We will go from fiery to snowy. Thanks so much. Thanks, Quindy, as always, for, yeah, sorry you didn't show up till the end, Arc. But yeah, thanks, everybody, and I hope you all have a lovely Monday. May it not be a Monday with a capital M. All right? Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.